Hi, how
Hi,
nice to see you.
nice to see you too.
Thank you for joining in.
Thank you
Yeah,
for inviting me.
I'm so glad you could join. So, Divya, tell us a little about your professional journey, where you started, and how you came to be where you're at.
Okay. So I am actually a finance graduate MBA and I was working in a bank. And after some time, I realized I wanted to do something more meaningful. So I moved to the education field. I was actually training principals and teachers in experiential learning. And while I was visiting schools across the country, I saw that a lot of labels were being made on children which weren't around when we were studying hyperactivity and ADHD and autism and whatnot. So I wanted to get to the root on why is it so much prevalent now than before, and that brought me. At that time, I was also expecting my for children, so I realized the importance of prenatal education, and that's how I got into hypnobirthing and became a doula. And one practice I realized is no matter what preparation you do, depending on the team you are in, birth outcome is not always in our hands. Right? But one
Correct.
thing which is always in the parents' hands is bonding with the baby once the baby is with you at home. So
Yeah.
breastfeeding, baby wearing, those were things which literally helped me tremendously in my journey. And I kind of just shared it forward by supporting other families now. So that's what brought
Okay.
me.
That's so nice. And what about your two children? Did you baby wear them?
Absolutely. When my son, who is about 9 now, at that time, baby wearing as a practice in India, there were not many companies making carriers locally, so many were imported, expensive. So I remember I used to use and when my sister had asked me, my younger sister, what do you want as a gift when the baby's born? I remember I asked her, I want a baby carrier. So she went to the closest mall to motherhood, got the best carrier available, which unfortunately both of us didn't know at that time wasn't ergonomic. So when I was using and I was climbing stairs, it was so uncomfortable. Neither was my son
Hmm.
comfortable, neither was I comfortable, and I didn't realize what's happening. Why is it, so uncomfortable? Whether I'm climbing steps or doing walking or anything like that. So I stumbled upon this group, Breastfeeding Support for Indian Mothers, through them Baby
Hmm.
India. And there I learned
Hmm.
how to use a sari to wrap my son. And I was using a cotton sari, walking around in Khawgali and Chandni Chowk in Delhi and going to the President's Garden, traveling to Banaras, everywhere, wrapping my son in a sari. And
Yeah.
around when he was two, Anmol launched these soft structured carriers. I was amongst their
Hmm.
first customers, and we went on a trip to
Okay.
Vaishno Devi, around 14 kilometers each way, carrying my 2-year-old son in the baby carrier. So,
Wow.
eh,
Very nice. So, till what age did you carry him?
till they wanted to be carried. So I
That
always
would be?
suggest that.
Huh.
When we were around and he was happy walking and running and everything, they didn't want to ask to be carried. But when we had international flights, which were like at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., ridiculous timings, even at 5, they wanted to be carried because they're usually asleep at that time.
Yeah,
So me
yeah.
and my husband we're using different ergonomic carriers because any day it was easier to use a carrier and carry the baby than carry them in our arms. It was next to impossible to carry them in our arms as they grew up, especially while
Correct.
traveling with luggage and everything. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So when I meet parents, some of them don't even know what baby wearing is, Divya. So if you were to explain in very simple terms what it would be, how would you put it?
In very simple terms, baby wearing is the practice of using any device. It could be a strap carrier, it could be a piece of cloth to keep the baby against the caregiver's torso.
Okay.
It's amongst the
That's
first
it.
contraption invented by humans over 500 billion years ago, I could say that
Yeah.
confidently. A traditional
Yeah, I read about
practice
that.
in cultures
Yeah.
across the
Correct.
world.
Yeah, correct. So why did it dip in popularity? I mean, why is it something that people have to learn to do if it's been around for millennia? Why do you think, the
It's
popularity
still
dipped?
prevalent in matrilineal societies
Okay.
where
Yeah.
maybe it's a question we should ask ourselves. Why have
Yeah.
babies love to be carried? Why have we stopped carrying them? It's a
Correct.
question that
Correct.
probably people should
Yeah,
ask
yeah.
themselves.
I think in traditional communities it's more common. What I
Absolutely.
heard was with industrialization and the development of perambulators, prams,
Hmm.
parents were actually encouraged to put babies in the prams and away from them, and that's when the popularity of baby wearing dropped.
Yeah.
So I understand there are lots of carriers, Divya. So suppose a family comes to you for a consult, how do you actually fit them or advise them what would work best for them? What are your criteria?
It would depend on the age of the baby and the
Hmm.
needs of the family. So,
Okay.
for a very small baby, for a newborn, let's say, I would recommend a wrap
Hmm.
simply because it replicates the womb environment as closely as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the wrap takes the shape of the baby. It's a simple piece of fabric. Okay, so the baby's naturally curved spine, the baby's bones are like cartilage at that time, they're not fully developed. So, in the natural position, the squatting M position in which you hold the baby, the carrier replicates the same thing, and bonus is the parents or the caregivers are hands free.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So mainly depending on the age. So weight also matters, I guess. No, the baby's weight.
Yes, and depends, like as I said, if the baby has more neck control, baby is older, is a toddler, so then the size of the carrier. So there are many
Okay.
different carriers, experience of the parents, the learning
Yeah.
curve they are willing to put in the time and effort. So there are buckle
Okay.
carriers that just get strapped on and off. So parents
Okay.
find them very easy. Then the wrap actually takes a little bit of a learning time because
Okay.
there are no buckles. A single piece of fabric,
Yeah.
you have to learn how to tie it, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
that way
What
depends on the
about
needs of the
like,
family
yeah,
and the
yeah,
age of the baby.
and like parental body types, like say suppose there's a very petite woman or someone who's plus size, does that also matter about the kind of carrier you would advise? No.
Not at all. These
Okay.
the ones I teach baby wearing with, they are all ergonomic carriers. So they also support the parent spine. The weight is
Hmm.
evenly distributed across the back. In fact, I've had clients who have back issues, cannot carry their babies without the
Okay.
carriers. They prefer using
Okay.
the carriers because the weight is evenly distributed, and
Uh-huh.
they wouldn't be able to keep their babies so close to them if not for
Huh.
baby.
Okay. And do you have like a library or something, Divya? Do you lend or rent your carriers?
Yes, there are multiple libraries in Bangalore. I have carriers from Anmol, which I also teach and rent out.
Okay, all right. So it doesn't actually depend on the parent's body type. So suppose something fits the mother, it doesn't mean that the dad needs a different carrier, nothing like
Absolutely
that.
correct.
So it's just
These
one
straps are
carrier.
all extendable in the so from a petite person to a XL person, plus size person, you need to open the straps, adjust it if it's a strapped carrier. If it's a wrap, you have plenty of ample fabric. In a petite person, you loop it around your body a couple of times. In a plus size person, you just loop it around once.
Okay, so just adjusting it. All
Absolutely.
right. And until what age would you recommend that the parents wear their babies?
Till the baby wants to be carried.
Okay. So there's no upper limit.
Absolutely. I've had clients who have children with special needs who like to be
Hmm.
carried for a longer age group. Um, it works. There's nothing else which can calm the baby down faster than a carrier or make the baby
Right.
sleep easier, longer, better. My
Yeah.
husband used to call it my Brahmastra. When no one was able to calm my baby down, he was like, Brahmastra nikalo. I don't know how parent without a baby carrier, it's become so integral. It was such an integral part of my parenting journey.
Correct, correct. So, why do you think there's this certain resistance to try carriers? Why do you think some parents would just prefer to wrap up and hold the baby on their laps, rather than just wear the baby? What do you think the barrier is?
I think multiple levels we have turned towards outside rather than,
Hmm.
what is our instincts telling us in parenting.
Yeah.
Each one is entitled to an opinion, and there are
Yes.
as many opinions as there are number of people in parenting, right? What works is, as a mother or as a father, what is my instinct telling me? If the baby is
Yeah.
crying, I would naturally feel drawn to console the baby, to calm the baby
Yeah.
down, right?
Yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
as a culture, maybe that need is not being met or is not being encouraged. So,
Mm.
hotel pila do, other people can care for the baby. Um, Jhule mein rakh do, we can also do it, depending on the family, is what I would say.
Okay. So maybe responding externally to how you can rather than giving the baby what he needs at that particular
Absolutely,
moment.
yes.
Possibly that is
And
what
there's
is
also a
happening.
learning curve and there's fear. So baby
Mm.
responds a lot to fear, right?
Yeah.
Uh, I have not come across a single baby who doesn't like to be carried. And I
Ah.
have personally carried my own babies as well as a lot of babies as a baby wearing consultant from newborn till much older age. The moment
Mm.
I wear them in a carrier, they fall asleep instantly. Okay.
Okay.
Though they are meeting me for the first time at times, they've never met me before, never seen me before. And usually babies take some time to get used to unknown people, right?
Yeah.
So it's just that they are replicating the womb environment. They are used to gravity, so you're moving around. They're listening to your heartbeat when they're held close to you. So
Yeah.
these things naturally resonate with babies, and that's
Correct.
why they like it so much.
Yeah. So suppose a parent has come to you for baby bearing advice and they've chosen a particular app and it worked very well with you, and then they go home and try it and then the baby cries. So then they call you, and then what advice would you give them?
First, I would ask the parent to calm down. Babies pick up on the parent's agitation also very easily. If the parent is anxious, there is a very remote chance they can calm down their baby. So
Yeah,
once the
right.
parents calm down themselves, I always recommend they practice a couple of times till they feel confident before using it with the baby,
Hmm.
especially if it is the first time. So, as a doula and as a hypnobirthing teacher, I am a great advocate of belly wrapping during pregnancy. So,
Hmm.
the mother uses the wrap, which will be used to carry the baby at birth, in
Okay.
pregnancy for
Oh,
supporting her pregnant belly, taking pressure
okay.
off the spine,
Hmm.
opening up the lungs. There's so much benefit of belly wrapping in pregnancy. So, they have some level of dexterity using the wrap and confidence. So, when the baby
Oh,
comes, it becomes much easier for them.
yeah, that is really good. So at how many weeks would you recommend belly wrapping?
Third trimester.
Okay. And like how often and how long, how do they need to do it?
About 15-20 minutes to maximum half an hour at a time. Maybe a
Okay.
couple of times a day if that works for them. Again, depending on each mother's need. Some mothers really like the support and love to do it during their exercise routine. Some
Hmm.
mothers, I had a mum who was expecting twins who had been
Hmm.
told that her babies would not cross 30 to 33 weeks in the womb. Using the belly wrapping, it gave her so much support. She went till 40 weeks with her twin pregnancy.
Nice. So nice. Very
Both her
nice.
babies were like 3+ kgs individually.
And did she baby wear later also?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how easy is it to baby wear twins? Like, how do you do it? Do you use two carriers or do you put them in one? How do you do it?
At the newborn stage, you can use one carrier. Do you carry
Hmm.
both the babies? Like how they were in the
Okay.
womb.
Yeah, yeah.
And they love it because they are as close as they were. Nothing else replicates that environment for them.
Correct, correct.
As they
And when
grow
they're
older,
older, yeah,
one front, one back, or two caregivers can carry one baby. Whichever works for the family. There is no one size that fits all in anything.
exactly. So once they're born, how early can the mom wear them? Like if she's had a vaginal birth, immediately?
When she's ready. So,
Hmm.
as a doula, before I leave from the hospital, I make sure that either the father or the mother is comfortable using the wrap. We also use the
Hmm.
wrap as a rebozo during birth to change the baby's positions or give the mother relief during labor. So it becomes a very natural progression to use a
Correct.
carrier.
Yeah.
Usually, the first couple of days till the umbilical stump falls off, parents are a little hesitant.
Yeah.
Though for the baby, it is not a problem. I have
Yeah.
carried newborn babies.
Yeah.
My own daughter, I was carrying from day one using a wrap. So, as I said, it is depending on the comfort. of the
Yeah,
family.
correct. And for cesareans, is there any like specific period after which the mom would need to do this?
After cesareans, I encourage the fathers to use the carrier right
Mm.
away,
Mm.
especially because the baby's nervous system calms down a lot having come from a surgical birth.
Correct.
And the
Yeah.
mother can, whenever she feels up to it, depending on how her stitches are healing, how
Hmm.
she's feeling emotionally. So, depends. I've had cesarean moms also use the carrier the third day, fourth day. I've had some using it after 3, 4 weeks. So it really depends on the mother's
They are
need.
comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about preterm babies, Divya?
Preterm babies, I encourage them a lot in using this, especially
Hmm.
because the skin to skin helps them put on weight easily
Yeah, yeah.
and helps increase the mother's milk supply, the oxytocin
Correct.
holding the baby closer. So, for preterm babies, this is like a boon instead of
Hmm.
putting the baby in, kangaroo mother care, which is done in the ICUs, in the NICUs, in hospitals. You can do it at home.
Hmm. And I think it's like whatever they had in utero and was interrupted is continued
Absolutely,
outside. So it's a good
absolutely.
progression for them. Yeah. What about babies born breech? Is there any contraindication to baby wearing or anything that you
Not
need
at
to
all.
take care of?
Not at
Okay,
all.
nothing. All right. So what you're saying is, depending on the comfort of the mother, she can start as early as she wants after birth, and she can continue as long as the baby needs it.
Yes, as
Right.
long as she's comfortable and the baby wants to be carried, depending on the situation. I have run marathons carrying my daughter in the carrier.
Oh, nice. Tell us about that. When was that? How old was she?
Through both my pregnancies, I have run. There's this Pinkathon which happens once a year.
Yeah.
Milind Soman is a
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
advocate of that.
Correct.
So
Correct.
except for the 2 years of COVID and it's not yet started, 6 years I ran continuously, either 5 kilometers
Mm.
or 10 kilometers. I was either expecting or I was carrying one of the babies strapped onto me.
Oh my God. And they were
So
front carrying back, or how did you manage?
So when my daughter was 4 months or 5 months, I went for the she first for marathon with her. With my son, I started when he was over 1. With her, she was much younger. She slept till late till I finished the whole run and her usual wake up time. She woke up. I had put her in the carrier and left home at 4 o'clock. Done Zumba, ran the marathon, did everything, and she blissfully slept through everything.
Amazing. So you can run marathons baby wearing. Is there something that you can't do, or what you would advise a parent not to do baby wearing?
Any adventure sports, going on bikes, would
Hmm.
not be advisable. Sitting in a car because you're using a seat belt and you're strapping the baby
Yeah,
to
yeah,
you. So,
yeah, yeah.
cooking, if you're not
Huh.
confident, flame is right in front of when you're carrying the baby in front of you. So
Yeah.
all these
So
things are
those.
recommended not to be practiced. Again,
Okay.
one size
Okay.
doesn't fit all. So it's
Yeah.
on the discretion of the parent or the caregiver.
So what if the mother is pregnant the second time? Can she baby wear her, her
Yes.
toddler, and how would she do that?
So when I was expecting my daughter till almost 40th week, my son was 2 years old when my daughter was born. So I would use a strapless carrier. They have something called as a onbu himo, which doesn't have a waist strap. It just has this.
Hmm.
I was carrying.
Okay.
That was the only way he would nap.
Okay. All right. That is so nice. So, are there any like, is there like a checklist if a parent is wearing a baby? What do you look for to see that the baby is safe? Is there something that the parent can be aware of?
Yes. There is an acronym to remember basic safety rules. It's called TICS. The carrier should be
Hmm.
tight enough, whichever one you're using, so that baby cannot slip out.
Hmm.
The baby should be inside. You should not go off inside the carrier that you cannot see where the baby is. Okay? The chin has to be off the chest of the baby so that the airway is clear. Knee to knee support should be there so the baby is in the natural ergonomic position and close enough to kiss. So not too
Okay.
low, not too high,
Okay.
so that it
Okay.
doesn't disturb the caregiver nor does it feel uncomfortable for the baby. So just close enough to kiss and the spine is supported.
Okay. So nicely rounded spine and
Yes.
M-shaped legs, I believe.
Yes. So
And
TICKS.
TICKS. Okay. And so this is the baby is facing you. So till what age do you need to hold like that? And at what age can you turn them facing forward or put them on your back? Is there some criteria for that?
For the baby facing you, that is the best position because then you wouldn't talk to someone not looking at them, would you? Right? So naturally, that is the most comfortable position for the baby. They are stimulated, they can also be soothed. Both are responding to each other's needs when the baby is facing you. Okay. If you want to give baby front facing in a carrier, make sure it is for a very short period of time. Baby has adequate
Hmm.
head control. They
Hmm.
can control their front torso. Just usually they can sit up unassisted
Okay.
that way, and the fit is proper. So the carrier is not either blocking their view or whatever. So,
Hmm.
and most importantly, respond to the baby. If the baby is upset, please remove. Either use them
Yeah.
facing inwards or remove them from the carrier.
Yeah. So responding to their cues. And what
Absolutely.
about putting on the back? Like some babies are head carried on the back.
I
When
would
would you
say it
recommend?
depends on the comfort and expertise of the parent who is carrying.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Okay.
have carried my daughter at the back from when she was 2 months old, using a
Hmm.
towel also because I was carrying my son for a very long time before she was born. So I was accustomed
Yeah.
to, all the transfer and everything, and it just was very natural. Only thing the baby size changed.
Yeah.
So, it's up to
So
the
I guess
person.
it's very beneficial for parent and baby. Can you just talk about some benefits, Divya? What do you think are the most important for
We can do a whole
parent?
1 hour session only on the benefits. There are so many.
Yeah, right.
As I
So if you
said,
can
their
just
body temperature is regulated, their breathing is regulated. There is so much oxytocin for both. So breastfeeding is supported. Um, biggest benefit: babies sleep easily. They sleep
hmm,
longer. When babies sleep longer, parents sleep longer. So everyone is overall very happy. Um,
yeah.
then for fitness, so many parents say, I can't get back to exercise. I have to take care of baby. This is the best way. You put the baby in the
Hmm,
carrier and you go. Your back is supported, baby is supported,
hmm,
replicates the womb environment. There is less
yeah.
colic, less reflux. Then babies are less gassy. They
Hmm.
develop, spatial cognizance. All their senses are involved. I can go on. Please tell me when to stop.
And I guess even breastfeeding is easier in when
Absolutely.
you're baby bearing. Correct.
Especially when you have two children. Like mine were just 2 years, little few months apart. I had to drop my older one to school, pick him up. She would just wake up when it was time to go and ask for a feed. I have lost track of the number of times I have been standing at the bus stop waiting for my son to get dropped off in the school bus, and I have been feeding her. And no one
So
would
much.
know.
Yeah, right. So much convenience, so much convenience.
Absolutely.
What I actually liked about what you said was, using the wrap in pregnancy so that you are familiar with the feel of it, the heft of it, and then when your baby is born, I think your familiarity with that wrap shows, and you are more calm, and the baby picks up on that calmness and there's less crying. So I really loved what you said about that, and using it in birth also. So that's a really nice continuity to it. Very nice. So, you've been teaching baby bearing for how long now, Divya?
About 5, 6 years.
Okay. Is there something that you remember about any family or child, that really struck a chord with you and you'd like to share?
My most memorable experience has been baby wearing twins. I have supported a
Ah,
couple of families using that. Um, one experience I can, so of course with twins, it is because the mom has carried the babies in the womb, and if there is the traumatic birth, like in one of the cases, the babies came way too early. So
mm,
it was a lifesaver for the mum, caring for two boys alone. If not for baby wearing, I don't know how she would have managed to retain her sanity.
yeah.
So with premature babies, especially twins and two boys, this mum, I mean, she's still in touch with me. It becomes like a relationship. One mom I met with Babywearing, she is a fellow hypnobirthing teacher now, and she's also a doula. So it all started with meeting about Babywearing. Then
Mm.
I supported another mom who had a baby with Downs. So,
Mm.
they like normally also babies don't have neck control and they develop slowly at birth. A child with special needs takes even longer. So,
Mm.
and the anxiety that the parents have when there is any special circumstance with the child is born, right? So, in these cases, I mean, I felt so honored to be able to share this with them that it brought them so much joy, and the baby felt so much better as well. So,
Yeah.
in a normal situation, it's a blessing. In case there is any special situation, which could also be a surgical birth, I would
Mm.
say it should be followed. It has so many benefits. Absolutely. For the
Absolutely.
baby
Yeah.
as well as the caregivers. Mums have lesser postpartum depression, lesser instances of PTSD, and so many things once they have. They're able to care for their babies. Breastfeeding has been more successful where they're able to hold their babies close, or they've been able to breastfeed for longer. So,
Mm.
amazing.
And I think the partners also could feel more involved if they are
Absolutely.
baby wearing. So that's
Yes, in
another
fact,
win.
some dads have told me, with tears in the eyes, that this is the closest they feel how their wife had felt during pregnancy when they are carrying their newborn babies in the carriers.
So nice. What lovely experiences you've had, Divya, helping all these families. Very
Yeah.
nice. So, yeah, if there's one thing you want to tell parents who are new to baby wearing and then, they want some advice from you, what would you tell them?
I would say definitely experience it before dismissing it. So there
Hmm.
are many different carriers depending
Hmm.
on the need, depending on the budget, depending on the age of the baby, etc. I would encourage each family with a baby, for grandparents, for creches, for daycare centers where there are small babies around. Because I was working with schools, I have seen 6 month old babies left in daycare centers and caregivers struggling to calm them down. So, whoever
Yeah.
is connected with a baby,
Hmm.
please use a baby carrier. It would make your life much more easier, and of course, the baby gets the bonus of calming down easily.
That is such wonderful advice. So, if parents need to connect with you, how could they do that, Divya,
They
for the baby
can
wearing?
they can call me. I can share my mobile number, or they can get in touch with me through any of the social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook,
All
WhatsApp.
right.
Yeah.
So I think I've covered more or less all my questions. Is there anything else you need to tell us, Divya? Anything you want to share or anything that I've not asked you about that you feel you should tell us?
I would love to hear from parents their own experiences as well, if
Hmm.
they have tried,
Yeah,
and how has it been for them. Because,
correct.
as I told you, I have yet to meet a baby who doesn't like to be carried.
Yeah, right. And I really wish it was like standard procedure at discharge from a hospital that you recommend baby wearing and, give some pointers to the parents about whom to approach for guidance. Because, like you said, I think it's really magical, the connection, and, it helps with so many things sleep and bonding and breastfeeding. It's almost like a panacea for, whatever your concerns are in the immediate postnatal period. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I think I've reached the end of my questions. Thank you, Divya, for joining us today. And thank you, everyone, for joining in. Bye, Divya. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.